and welcome to the Xena Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera, and I'm joined, as always, by my two hoggish co-hosts, Katie.
What? Hi.
And Livy.
I disapprove of this adjective.
Here, piggies.
No.
Well, I'll accept that because it's a Callisto reference.
Okay.
Ooh, I do not think that was intentional as a
I
Callisto
really don't think so.
reference.
But I'll take it.
Yes, please. Today we're going to be talking about 606 The Abyss, but before we do that, we have some scheduling announcements and whatnot. End of year roundup.
End of year roundup. What? What are we rounding up? Just our schedule.
Well, the fact that this is the last episode of the year for
is.
Xena Warrior Podcast. So
And what a one to go out
happy
on.
holidays. Yes, yes, yes.
Conclusion of the Gabrielle trilogy, so-called.
Mm-hmm. Is it actually called that, or did you just
People call it that.
Okay.
We didn't come up with it, no. We don't come up with anything.
That's true. That's true. We are like 20 years later.
So we will return in 2019
Yes.
with the Rheingold trilogy, another
Yes.
trilogy. Specifically, we will be returning on January 21st. So
Yes.
we are taking a month off.
Yes. Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Because we
Festivus.
will miss those. Happy
Kwanzaa.
Festivus.
A belated Hanukkah.
Yeah, very
belated.
belated.
Well, you could always do Happy Hanukkah 2019.
Already, yeah.
Very early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So January 21st, the Rheingold. Enjoy your time.
And start smelting your rings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and if you're on Patreon during our month off, you might find some presents there dropping
Into your stocking.
into your ears.
Your ear stocking.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know what that means.
I guess ears are the stockings of your head.
Okay. That doesn't make sense.
Sure.
Let's go with it.
Great. So shall we, get our spits ready
Yeah.
for
Oh,
yeah.
our delicious,
I've been waiting for this my whole life.
tasty meal? All right. So as mentioned, 606 The Abyss, written by James Caan.
Oh,
I
boy.
knew it. I knew you were going to do it.
And directed by
Rick.
King Rick Jacobson. Although, was this, would you consider this like one of his best outings?
It's not
I do not.
terrible.
It's kind of an interesting one because, I feel like a lackluster director on this episode would have drastically reduced its goodness.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
The fact that it's so well directed really saves it.
He really kind of, he tried. He gave it a
The-
shot.
There's a lot of stuff happening, especially in the fight scenes.
Yeah.
He's always
Yeah.
our
The fights
man
are
for
very
fights.
enjoyable. I think that this episode is just fun. It's very fast
Sure.
paced. I don't know. It just feels like a good time.
It is certainly
I
a
agree.
time.
It's
Sometimes it's good.
It's
I
entertaining.
know I'm not saying that it's perfect or anything. I'm just saying that he certainly makes all the fights really fun.
Yeah.
Wait, before we start the episode, let's talk a little bit about James Caan.
He's not the actor from The Godfather.
He is not from The Godfather.
Father of Scott Caan. No.
And he's not Khan from Star Trek.
No, he's not.
He's also not Comic-Con.
Okay. Just checking. I really thought he was a convention. Yes.
He is, if you look on his IMDb page, it's really funny because it describes him as best known for the novelization of Return of the Jedi.
What?
This guy wrote a lot of novelizations. He wrote the
Wow.
novelization for Poltergeist as well.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
This is a hilarious man. He also has written a lot of TV.
How did he get here?
He was on Melrose Place.
Oh, right. He does a lot of melodrama. Because he did Melrose Place and he did this.
You don't say.
Then he did soap opera. He did One Life to Live, right?
One Life to Live.
For,
I think
like,
you're
a
right. Or
lot.
All My Children, maybe? One of them.
It's one of them. We will find out for sure. And then he also did Star Trek Voyager.
Oh.
And I looked those episodes up because I was like, what the hell? And, they were whatever. And, they're not the ones that I remember fondly.
It was All My Children.
All My Children. Wait, with the Sarah Michelle Gellar years?
2009?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Because it would be after this, and she's full-blown Buffy at this point anyway.
Full-blown
Buffy. Yeah. But yeah. So he has a very fascinating track record And he was like a producer on like a supervising producer on Voyager. So it's like it's just they're just so different. Like sci-fi fantasy and
Cannibals?
no, that's part of sci-fi fantasy, I would say. But like and then also like
Melrose
super melodrama.
I think that fits him very well
For
Xena.
this episode.
I want him to write the novelization for The Abyss.
Oh.
Let's hire him to do this
All
now.
right.
Fill in all the blanks.
I think he should just write a
What
novelization.
happened to their jackets? Please tell us, James
Oh, man,
Caan.
yeah.
They fell off in the river.
Okay. Not a very satisfying explanation, but I'll take it.
So they wouldn't get dragged down.
Yeah, I
Who
mean, that's true.
cares?
That's true. Okay.
cares?
Okay. This episode begins with a lot of action. I mean, this is a kind of an action heavy episode. It's
It
like
is.
half action, half melodrama. No, half quiet, like reflection of sorts.
I was going to say half action, half action. Eyebrow waggle.
No.
That is not what's happening.
Pin that. So Rick starts off with a big old chase through the forest, and there's some creatures from M. Night Shyamalan's The Village.
They really are.
Legit chasing Virgil and his BFF Hosep.
Who is Hosep, you guys?
cares?
I want the novelization to fill in this piece of information because he seems important to Virgil. Is this a ship?
I don't know.
Oh.
Remember how like all his friends got crucified?
That's
Yeah.
true.
Hosep
This is maybe
survived.
the one friend who didn't get crucified.
Yeah, he
Now-
was on vacation that day, and he came back, and guess what? He's gonna be eaten by some cannibals. Oops.
This sequence of chasing reminded me a lot of the opening of Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yes.
'Cause if
Right.
you remember, like there, you don't know it's Joxer for a while.
Oh,
You're like,
God.
who is that guy?
Oh, and equally, you are like bummed out when you find out
It's
who it is.
Virgil, yeah.
So
You're like, who's wearing
Great.
that Luke Skywalker and door
Oh,
poncho
shit, yeah.
from Return of the Jedi, which James Caan did the novelization for. Connections.
I hope he wrote in the script like looks like
The poncho.
Yeah. So my note is like Hosep goes, "Help me, Virgil!" when these guys, grab him, and I say, "Meanwhile, I'm screaming, take Virgil instead."
Well,
You'd rather be stuck with Hosep?
Yeah, I will.
wow,
I
Vera.
would.
listen, you don't have to worry about Virgil
This
for that.
guy, guess
Yeah.
what? This one was rough for me.
Well,
is it.
It's it.
I'm
You're done.
glad.
You're done with
yeah,
Virgil.
I'm so happy he disappears from the face of the
Where's
earth.
Eve?
Yeah, where is Eve?
Same place where Virgil's gonna
He's
go
about
to.
Send them all-
She's gone.
They're all going to boarding
They're
school.
just like, it's really weird because like you just don't even question it.
I know.
No.
I think that's funny too because it is an issue, but it's also like one of those things where you feel like the slightly episodic nature, even though it
Yeah.
is kind of narrative, so it's going along,
Yeah.
so it should come up, but for some reason it really
It does
doesn't
not,
face
yeah.
me. And then every once in a while you're like, well, where is she?
Well, last she
Interesting.
was, she's probably still helping Sarah acclimate to not life in a harem.
Yeah,
And
not Gabrielle
returning
or
the
her
other
family.
women to their homes.
Right, that's
That'll,
what she's
that'll
doing.
take a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody,
But-
they didn't want to help her with that.
No. They got better
Yeah,
things to
yeah.
do, like go on
Like,
vacation.
with
Right.
Virgil and Hosep and two matching canoes. What is happening?
Who cares?
And, yeah, who cares? Anyway, Hosep's taken, and, we're sad about it. Virgil, oh man, this guy.
I thought he did a good job in this episode.
See, that's the thing.
fine.
He gets these, there's that shot where he's, sneaking up on the camp of, what do we call what is that? Is it the village? Can we just call it
wanna call
the
them the
cannibals?
village?
The village, yeah.
The village people?
Not the village people, the village.
Just M. Night Shyamalan's The Village.
Where it had creatures with, scary creatures from the woods that you were taught to be terrified of.
Don't spoil the village.
No, I'm just saying that the creature
can
had
spoil the village.
No.
You have to experience the village yourself if you haven't seen it. I think it's still on Netflix. It's actually Bryce Dallas Howard's best performance.
The first hour of The Village is good.
Isn't
It
Incredible.
is. That's what these things.
Yeah. Well, the creature has a pig head, so it's very similar.
Yeah, it has the quills. coming
Yeah,
off.
it's a weirdo creature, but there is some kind of pig or wild pig situation happening to it.
And I gotta say, these guys, the village,
Yeah.
we're just calling them the village.
Sure.
I really like their costuming with the rib cages.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of like the xenomorphs.
The
Confusingly,
xenomorphs.
the xenomorphs.
Yeah.
But from Alien,
Right.
that design, which I mean, kind of works with these characters who are not really coded as being human, despite being played by human actors.
They are.
They're monsters of the forest. You just established that with your village reference.
But they are, and like I totally get what they're doing with their own, with their own outfits. Like I get it fully, but I'm just saying that it reminds me of the movie.
Okay, fine.
Anyway,
Are we
oh yeah, go ahead.
well,
Sorry, I was going to complain about Virgil, so please cut me
while
off.
we just bring it back to Xena.
Yes, Xena.
Like, did anybody, like, do we immediately think about the Horde?
Yes.
I mean, I thought about the Horde only when it was established that we're on a river.
That's true. I think that's probably when it
Yeah.
first entered my head. This opening, I mean, we've had, people
the
chasing people
that's,
through the forest.
That's really normal.
Yeah,
but
it's unclear at this early stage what the deal is with these villains.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, once you see them in the canoe,
Right,
then
yes.
that's just the inevitable
And
connection.
where I go, I don't understand why Xena is not thinking about the Horde here.
Yeah. Especially because they're callbacks to almost everything else.
Right, exactly. So, after the big action-packed beginning here with Virgil, we cut to a tranquil little field.
Doe, a deer, a female deer.
You're not allowed to sing the Sound of Music. You haven't seen it.
That's true. I haven't seen the Sound of Music.
Man. Don't tell the audience
I did. I
that.
told.
That disqualifies us from talking about Xena. How dare! I've never thought I was listening to people who had never seen The Sound of Music.
I've
So,
seen it many times.
Gabs is hunting. She's going to shoot this nice little deer.
What do you call her? The Deer Hunter?
Yes.
A seminal American classic that has nothing to do with this, probably. Though, I mean, the Horde was so much about Vietnam movies.
Right.
So maybe we
So you
can
think
see
this
that.
scene where she,
Oh, deep end. Deep end.
She hunts a
I think
deer.
specifically, yes. Rob was like, I want the audience to think of the deer hunter right now. Yes. So she, has her bow and arrow. And I mean, she also has her new coat. And also her makeup seems a little bit too dark for my liking.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's
I
a
did
little-
not like it.
A little heavier than usual.
Yes.
'Cause she's in a dark place.
Maybe, yeah. So she pulls back on the string of the bow. She's gonna shoot this deer, but she hesitates, and then she shoots it and misses. Oh no, she's still going through her issues.
You sound so annoyed by that, Vera.
Don't
It's
be like
great.
me.
I'm not annoyed.
Don't
I'm
be
just
like
saying.
those people that I was
Oh.
reading about.
Oh, you mean the audience did not enjoy this?
Some.
This long-lasting
It's
character
3
arc.
episodes.
It's called a character arc.
3 episodes maximum.
Yeah.
Introspection is always good. That's what we were missing in season 5.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's super weird that people
I
have an
know.
issue anytime Gabs has an issue.
Well, I think people saw it as backsliding, in part because she hadn't had this issue in season 5. So
It's not. It's
Yeah.
unaddressed
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
People felt it should have happened earlier, and when it happens later, they're like, the fuck.
It should have. Okay, so anyway, she misses the deer.
Yeah, and Xena is not sympathetic.
No, but she is.
No,
is.
she goes,
She's
joking.
nice
Sympathetic.
shot.
I just don't know what kind of wine goes with bark.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I thought that was an asshole thing to
She
say.
was being cute.
Sure,
Oh, come on. That's
sure.
such good banter.
Sure
That's
it
like
is, yeah.
ye
Also
olde,
implies they're having like a
excellent-
hot date with some wine.
With Josep and fucking Virgil.
Yeah, don't forget about them.
a
But
double date.
Yeah, all right.
she makes such a cute face, though, when Gabs is like, oh, I guess we're going to have fish. Like,
Yeah.
Xena, she just makes this, like, sarcastic-looking little face, and it's so cute.
I really love how she, makes it into a good thing that she
Yeah.
missed it. She's like, well, it's all about a matter of perspective. If you're having a bad day, that means the deer is having a good one.
Right.
It was
It's
a very sweet
deer.
deer.
Yeah.
And of course, that kind of this whole thing with Gabrielle trying to kill a deer reminds us of Them Bones,
Right, where she did do it.
where she did do it. Yeah.
So
To save Xena's life.
right. So every time she's hungry and wants a deer, she has to kill Xena first, and then get the deer, bring her back, and then they'll have venison.
And I believe a fan pointed out that having this conversation about, hunting and killing, obviously it's going to have implications for when they're being hunted by the cannibals later in the episode. But it also kind of refers back to the price again, because the price starts with them fishing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is structured the same way as the price.
I mean, we have to keep the episodes with the horde in mind. Like, you can't not. It's crazy.
It's inevitable. And they're actually going back to the same locations where they shot the price.
Yes.
So it's there just visually on screen.
So they get back onto their little boat, onto the river.
On a boat, motherfuckers. It's been a while since we've done that. I felt I had to do it.
Well, it's like a little canoe.
For nostalgia. We're on a canoe, motherfuckers.
And Gabs' mood changes slightly. Like, she gets into a better mood, and I really like this little beat.
Oh, yeah, this is sweet how they played this.
Yeah, especially Xena in the back.
She's so giddy.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's like, Gabs is like, oh man, like the water's so calm and I'm totally in a better mood. And then
I'm totally in a better mood.
And Xena's like, I was hoping it would have an effect on you. And it's like a cute little cackle.
Yeah.
Like, watch that little moment. It's really cute.
Yeah. She's kind of teasing her, but also kind of
No,
not.
she's like happy.
She's proud of herself.
Yeah, she's proud of herself.
Yeah.
Well, Gabs
Gabs.
looks back at her with
Yeah.
a very cute smile, and it makes Xena laugh, which is the order of events.
So they row their little canoe and they find the boys' campsite and it's abandoned. And Xena can tell literally how long ago this fire had been going.
Yeah.
We're back
4
to
hours.
CSI Amphipolis here.
Yes, exactly. So 4 hours ago, this was used. Now it's not. There's like all this clothes everywhere. There's bloody like swords and stuff. And then there's also like a stake with a human head through it.
That's not good.
What could this mean?
So that's weird. Yeah. They're like, did thieves do this? LOL.
Cannibal thieves, maybe.
Yeah. And Xena can tell that they escaped on their canoe and were running for their lives. Okay. So then we cut to Virgil sneaking up on the village of these cannibals. And he can see that everything's disgusting in this camp.
So gross.
And that Hosep is being, like, roasted on a spit.
Oh, yeah. Rotisserie.
Rotisserie Hosep.
Yep, not great. Not great. Close up of crying Virgil. Sad. It's sad to see your
this
bud
is what
Hosep getting rotisserie.
Your best bud, your bro.
It's not
Hosep.
good.
So, all right, here's what I like. Okay, Virgil gets. Man, this show loves this guy so much. Because he gets this massive close-ups of his little crying face.
It's sad.
His friend Hosep.
Hosep.
Fuck you,
Spinning
show.
around and around.
Only close-ups of crying faces are reserved for Xena Gabs.
But there's so many of those here.
None for you, Virgil.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're getting
GTFO.
greedy
Yeah.
here.
You hate him.
Gosh, he's good.
No.
I think that he did a good job here. Good. I think his little crying face was pretty good.
No, not
This
necessary.
is important to establish the stakes.
I don't understand why we needed
These
Hosep and Virgil's feelings for Hosep to be established
You just
here.
wanted Virgil to get eaten by
Yeah, he could have
by the
easily gotten
cannibals?
snatched up immediately, and he could have
eaten.
had a random being eaten.
I
and
guess
just-
so. He could just see someone
Yeah.
being eaten.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty horrible, even if you don't know the guy's name.
Yeah, because they put
Maybe you wouldn't understand that it was a man.
it's a man shape in this like clay situation.
Oh yeah, this is a reference to the movie The Naked Prey, or just Naked
Whoa.
Prey. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Cornell Wilde. It was nominated for an Oscar for its writing.
When was this?
It's from 1965.
Okay, so is the prey naked in that movie?
They're not here.
Yeah,
We'll
I was
bring
gonna
that
say
up
they
later.
are very much not naked here.
Save it for
We,
later.
we
Okay.
wish we'd had some Naked Prey.
Yes, please, but not Virgil. No. Okay.
Do we though? I just practicality wise, we'll bring it up later. I don't think we needed it in life though. But anyway.
Okay, so we're back on the river. Xena and Gabs are rowing their little canoe.
Yeah.
Okay, Gabs is screaming, Virgil, Virgil,
Just terrible.
At the-
Attracting everybody.
at the top of her
Yeah.
lungs. What is happening?
Giving their position away.
That is like
Ooh.
absurd. I don't understand why this is happening, why she's allowed to do that. And this is exactly where Xena should be like flashing back to the horde, being like, you should not maybe be screaming at the top of your lungs because our buds were just taken by something
It's true.
crazy.
This episode is a little different from The Price because you remember how well The Price established kind of how Xena was afraid of the Horde.
Yeah.
She does not seem as freaked out about these cannibals. She would much rather talk to Gabs about Gabs's issues than she would talk about, like, Virgil and Josep being chased by cannibals.
And how they're in danger.
Yeah.
Clearly already.
They're not scary in the same way.
But
they eat people.
But she doesn't know that yet. She doesn't know that
she doesn't
yet.
know. She all she knows is they have the human skull on
Right,
the
and that
spit thing.
their friends were chased out and there was bloody, bloody mess
I mean,
left
it's
behind.
not great. You don't like that.
I just think that she should be, from her life experience, specifically with the Horde, very concerned about the territory they're in, because the Horde, part of that was that they entered the territory of the Horde.
Right. There's we don't know what the deal is with the village here.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly they did have a village that was close by to where Xena and company were camping, so maybe it is
I'm assuming it's their
territory
territory as well, their hunting grounds and whatnot, but, like, it's just that Xena should be extremely terrified right now, just in general.
Well, it seems like, I mean, if it making all these callbacks and they're in the same location, then, like, they're in that area.
Well, I don't know if the show wants you to think they're in the area of the Horde. It's just they're using the same river.
Because they definitely don't want them to be the Horde.
No, because then we'd have so many problems.
They're not the Horde.
Can I bring up something?
You said the word problem, so...
I would like to bring this up as an experience of this episode that I feel like perhaps many listeners have with this episode, which is that this episode has, like, 3 scenes in it. And then, I don't know, there's some stuff also else around those
It's like when you think back of The Abyss, the episode you remember fondly, you only think of, like, the cave scene. And you don't think about
the
every other part.
Virgil and Joseph.
And
Rubio.
Fucking Rubio. Don't even get me started.
It's bananas.
Do not even get me started.
Many times I have seen those parts of this episode, and then when I went to watch it for recording this, I was like, what is this?
This episode, we'll
I
get to it.
don't remember this.
Okay.
Let's talk about this river conversation.
The river conversation. Good. Yes, go for it.
Okay. So I love how this is such a direct, like, in terms of continuity, like, they're just talking about the events of Legacy very specifically.
Yeah.
You don't usually see continuity this detailed in a Xena episode, so I appreciate it. I love these lines of dialogue. Xena says something like, she accuses Gabs of still condemning herself for killing that boy in the desert.
Right.
And she says, I condemn myself for his father's sake.
Okay.
Yeah. And
but Xena was like, didn't he forgive you?
Didn't he forgive you? That isn't actually what happens, Xena. But I can see how Xena would misunderstand what he says to her to think that. I think it works for Xena's character to view things that way. I love this line of Gabrielle's where she says that my reflexes are those of a warrior, but I'm afraid my judgment's not. I think that's a bad combination. I think that's a great just summation of, like, what Gabs is as a character.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. But it is technically like a slide back because...
Oh, now you're saying what the fans are saying.
Well, because it is great to experience Gabs who, threw the staff into the river in India, who gave up violence, whatever.
But then gave up giving up violence.
Right, but, like, going to that super place where she's, like, a killing machine and just, like, does not even, like, really notice that.
But that should never have happened.
I think it should have happened.
I
think it's a natural trajectory for someone who's so,
but
like,
it needs to be a
not naturally a warrior.
You need to get to that place. Like, she kind of went straight from,
March to...
Yes.
Because of shenanigans in season 5.
Exactly,
and that was, like, just not great.
I
like,
agree with you that Gabs the killing machine is necessary, but it should have happened, like, now.
Right, I agree.
Had her crisis.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the fact that she's having the crisis so belatedly is what feels weird to you. But I do think this idea that she has the reflexes of a killer, but mentally that's not who she is, and that might never be who she is. I think that is so key to Gabrielle.
It's rough because she's trying her best to make her feel better, and Gabs is not really listening.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, there's nothing Xena can say. That's what's so frustrating for Xena. I think she's literally running through like the bottom of the list in terms of options of nice things to say. Well, it was the kid's fault, or the dad's fault, also the kids. You know,
Well, it just shows just how inexperienced Gabs really is still.
Yeah,
And that's, you know.
she's still beating herself up, and obviously that can be a very dangerous thing to do.
But even if the fact that she's even having these feelings, like Xena's like so far beyond that shit.
But
It's crazy.
is she?
I don't know. She like slices dudes' throats left and right in this episode.
But I think it's really important to have these feelings. I don't think they're a bad thing. That's what Xena doesn't understand. Is like, obviously freezing in the middle of a fight is terrible and dangerous.
Right. Yeah.
But to have a sense of remorse when you've killed someone you shouldn't have, that's very, very appropriate in a warrior.
Let's just say a singular person that she's killed. Having remorse about one person.
Yeah, I mean,
beyond that.
I think in a way, maybe Xena's impatience with Gabs over this, maybe it's just striking too close to home. Like, Gabs is kind of, now dealing with some of the redemption baggage that Xena deals with on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And
So Xena's like, Gabs, I dealt with this in season 2.
well, Xena knows that it's so hard to actually, like, feel better about these things. It's hard to make amends. It's hard to apologize. Yeah, I feel like that's really what
I kind of wish she said
that.
I kind of wish she was like blunt like that.
I mean, she sort of said some of that in Legacy. She got into it a bit.
Yeah. So Virgil has seen enough of the village. He saw the twist at the end, and he wants to run away. And he starts running, but he kind of trips over like a trap.
Yeah, well, this trap was strange. It's like a bird in a cage who gets alerted and starts cawing.
It's very elaborate, but also very intelligent.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Which goes against most of what you see from this village. Yeah. They don't seem very sophisticated. But then a fan pointed out that they are riding horseback, which
they do.
generally implies a certain level of sophistication.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of mixed message with these bad guys. Like, are they a sophisticated culture, or are they just like horrible monsters who live in the woods and eat people?
I think it's a choice that somebody made one time and brought all his bros. Because it's all males.
It is
They're all men.
Yeah. So
it's a male cult.
So they're not going to, like, there's no longevity here.
Yeah, I mean, they're like I call them the anti-Amazons because they're just like a troop of dudes who, like, live in the forest, do a lot of, like, tree stuff.
And eat people.
But they just eat people. But you don't really, like, the fact, I just don't get the way that they survive because there is no women anywhere. There's no small kids. It's not like they take kids. They don't steal like boys or anything like that. And they certainly were not interested in anything when they had a woman there. So
okay. Oh, the novelization has a lot of questions to answer.
Okay, so Virgil is caught. Oh no.
Yeah, he's in a net.
Yeah. Oh, we see the shot from the new credits for Warlords.
It's like one of these villagers.
Yeah,
dudes.
he's like there's two key guys.
Long hair.
Yeah, the long-haired one who's like their kind of like chieftain of sorts, like the warrior leader. He orders them around, and then there's also like a spiritual leader, a shaman type of guy.
Yeah, we'll see him
Short
later.
hair.
Yeah.
So that's where they send guys on horseback, I think, to collect Virgil. So now Xena and Gabs find the wrecked canoe of Virgil and Hosep, maybe?
Yes, I think that's what that's
and
meant to
Xena
be.
can tell that it's been wrecked for like 2 hours, so...
They're getting closer. But meanwhile, we're getting creeper cam of them, like the camera's shooting them from the bank, and it pulls out a little bit, and we see like a furry hand.
Oh, I like that. That was creepy.
I was like, it's a guy in a gorilla suit.
Oh no,
what's happening?
I thought that looked cool. They floated on by in the canoe and the creepy hand.
Creepy
I
hand.
thought that was effective.
Yeah, no, it's effective, and again, I think feels like a bit of a salute to the Price, which used similar tricks.
Right. So, I mean, they're still on the river.
Yeah.
But they're continuing their conversation about Korra.
It's a long conversation. There's a lot
Korra.
to say about Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked this leg of the conversation.
Me too.
because I like that they're actually talking about Gabrielle saving Xena in battle.
Yeah.
Like Xena's saying that,
Right.
like you were saving
She's
my
trying
life.
everything to make her stop.
Every single tactic. But this one is nice because
Yeah.
it is so rare to hear them talk about this.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you think of Ides of March, like
Right.
Gabrielle saving Xena.
Yeah.
Yeah, she starts by saying, if I had listened to my heart, would that boy still be alive?
And she's like, you did listen to your heart.
The line delivery is so good because
Yeah.
she's like, you did listen with your heart. I told you to protect me. And then I love the way she's just like dismisses it immediately. She's like, anyway, like, you know, because it's just so, like, she's like, I'm going to say this really
Too mushy.
truthful, mushy thing about how we like to do murders for each other. And then just change the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and she says that she can trust Gabs with her life.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
big, and that's kind of going to be borne out by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Which is
Right,
nice.
yeah.
But yeah, it's very nice. And yeah, you should think about that stuff. And then, but that's all part of it too, which is like, she does do these murders and she did start doing it again because of Xena. And,
Right.
you know, that's nice to do murders.
Romantic.
So romantic.
A production note about this whole conversation that they're shooting on the river. It was actually shot in a pool, so there was no, you know, the water wasn't really moving. So they had to bring in these like huge, I don't even know, fans,
Yeah.
like to like get the water to move, and they had to ADR this entire conversation, and it's so good. It's so
Yeah, they
impressive.
did a good
Yeah.
job.
I mean, this episode is full of really great acting, and when you think about just the like difficult conditions the actors were under, the fact that it's such an intimate and
Yeah.
intense, like emotional episode is so impressive.
I wonder if this is why I feel like Lucy's accent in this one had a little bit of
In and out.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you know how you can always tell for like a English Commonwealth or English speaking like Great Britain type
Anything?
of person, right? So that's the specific.
We've
word.
talked about anything.
doesn't-
So she doesn't do
on
anything,
this.
but she did
Yeah.
anywhere or
Oh.
anyone.
I didn't know it worked for other words.
It does if it's in that same family of you know. Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
it
It happened, and I wonder if it was the looping that did it.
I can see her having trouble getting back into her
Yeah,
Xena
she was like on her
voice.
day off. She has to come
Yeah.
into the studio.
You're not
to do
wearing
it.
the
Yeah,
costume,
yeah,
which I bet
yeah.
makes a huge difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it looks really good. And all that stuff looks really good, I feel like. All the river stuff and the kids.
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like fun. I want to go paddle on this boat, having serious emotional conversations with Xena and Gabs.
Yeah.
That'll be in my like theme park I open for Xena Warrior Princess.
Canoe. There's canoes at Disneyland, or there used to be.
That you do yourself.
An original.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah, not
Well, can you imagine if you did like a roller coaster based on the abyss? Like that would be really good. It would be a really good
a roller coaster based on the abyss.
Yeah. I think that would be really good. You like, you know, during one of the like slower moments, you like go through the cave and
I
like
think it would be a dark
have the
ride. I don't
animatronics
know.
acting it out.
Oh
It
no!
would be
I'm
really
terrified
good.
of how they would make the animatronics look. Well, I want to
no.
be the person who kind of like jumps out from under the water to attack them on the canoe.
This is so the price.
This was the price,
Right
yeah,
up in
straight up,
here.
yeah. But I mean, it was never like he never went to that shot. Like it never
Yeah.
got that scary.
Yeah, I feel like they're not actually, for the most part, trying to make the cannibals scary in that same kind of almost mystical way, where they're like a
Yeah.
force.
Yeah.
Though there is that
There's
shot at
some
the end
stuff
that
later.
we'll talk about.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
it's upcoming. In my opinion, but,
okay, another
yeah.
shot. But
Yeah.
this is a pretty business-like. Like they come in and they're bad.
Well, they try to attack them, but kind of fail. Like Gabs
true.
hits them with an aura bunch.
Yeah, I love that.
It's like hitting an attacker with your purse.
Yeah, get down.
So once they get on land, Xena's like, "What was that?" Yeah, and a bunch of pigmen attack them. So they're making like pig sounds.
Yeah.
It's not like
No.
they're very fully embraced.
They're stupid.
I wonder if they
very
worship. Do you think they maybe like worship
A
the
pig
pigs?
god?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And like
Why not?
I'm just trying to come up with my fake anti-Amazon
That would
tribe.
add like a characteristic of like
Something.
Yeah.
conscious thought and
Yeah.
some kind of humanity of
I
sorts
think
with
my-
like
okay,
this
all right.
system of deity.
I've decided that my fanon for this tribe is that a rich aristocratic gentlemen decided to start this.
Like in the
Okay.
village.
No, that's a
is
spoiler!
the plot of the village.
They're not aristocratic. They're just humans.
He's a
Oh,
university
stop.
professor.
Okay, but I'm not like a rich man.
He is rich. How else do you think
You're
you
right.
can do that?
Yes, you're right. Because it's like a whole
Dude,
thing.
you're
I
describing the plot of the
I
village.
forgot about the village. My favorite movie, The Village.
This episode has very little to do with it as well, which is hysterical.
It has a lot, clearly. Do you not hear us? But much like
Let's
the
talk about how awesome this fight is.
wait, much like the Abyss, I only remember the beginning of The Village, not
good.
the twist part. So anyway, the fight is really good here.
Yeah, this is when Rick Jacobson gets
Yeah,
down
he
to,
does-
to Rick business.
Yes,
Rick.
exactly. So, what are your favorite parts here?
In the fight?
Yeah.
I like how vocal Gabrielle is.
Okay.
Yeah, she for a while I feel like is fighting really just like full pelt vicious. Yeah, with a lot of like
Okay. I like how Xena and Gabs, they've fought dudes before, and certainly
Yes.
Xena has encountered
Indeed.
the Horde, right?
It's always Gabs,
Yeah.
but
Right.
not as a warrior.
I
Right.
think, first of all, I feel like Xena
Big
should be
difference.
like
Yeah.
shitting bricks here because, again, the Horde, flashbacks, PTSD, it should all be happening for her. It's not. However, she is very taken unaware when these dudes start biting them.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's
It's
upsetting.
legit.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my favorite part is the extreme close-up of the, like, bloody, gross teeth of these guys. Because they all, like,
Ooh.
Ah.
file their teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they all have like these horrible teeth, and there's a very specific shot that Rick does. I think that's like that's like his version of making the Horde be like supernatural almost. Like he's showing how
Monstrous they
Monstrous,
are.
they're
they
like
have
little-
jaws. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a really cool little Xena fight move where she like flips over one of the dude's backs and like kicks another dude. It was a really cool move. There's
yeah.
just there's a
And
lot
of
like,
slow mo
yeah,
as well.
so much slow mo, and there will be even better slow mo later.
Yeah, for
and Rick,
sure.
Rick, I feel like always gets these just like really good, just close ups on Lucy and Renee as they fight, where
Yeah.
they like look
Yeah.
good, but also
Yes.
look like they're really into the fight.
Right.
Which I feel
yes.
is it's hard to like look beautiful while also like physically exerting yourself a
Right,
lot.
yeah,
So like
yeah.
Rick has a great touch with that.
And there's like a Gabs slow mo backflip that happens.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then Gabs has a moment.
A moment.
She does have a moment. She gets the upper hand on one of these dudes, and she's gonna stab him. But oh no, it's the same situation as in Legacy. She flashes back, and she sees Cora's face in this guy's face.
I even, like, Katie, you were saying in the podcast last week that you thought it might actually be the actor who played Cora playing this member of the not Horde.
Yeah.
Was it?
I don't think so. I mean,
Yeah,
he's not
it was
credited.
really hard to tell if anything.
but
it
it
would be
definitely looks
uncredited.
like him.
Yeah, it really
They
looks like
they
him.
they definitely found someone who resembles
Then
him.
they helpfully flash back anyway to
Yes.
Legend of Korra.
Yes, exactly.
As well.
Well,
in the moment.
we talked last week about we hate flashbacks to
Yeah.
the same episode. Is it okay to have flashbacks to the previous episode?
I mean, yeah,
Well,
because
sure.
if you really missed that one and
Right.
you're just tuning in on this one,
That's a
not?
good point.
it would help you out.
If you missed, their conversation 2 minutes ago
Yes,
about her
exactly.
hesitating in a fight and then see her hesitating to fight, maybe you need to see
Yeah.
the face of the
But I think-
man she killed last
But maybe
week.
partially, like, it was. If this guy came in to do this uncredited cameo, maybe it was to show you that it is the same actor.
Yeah.
That's the only reason
I mean,
that I can
It's
explain.
fine.
It's
I
so
wouldn't have. I
effective.
certainly
Yes.
wouldn't have been like, oh my god. Like I wouldn't have looked at that
Yes.
face
Yes.
and seen Korra. Like even if it is the same actor, I wouldn't have thought about it. Like and so I think that it's you get
The
your inner
flashback is
perspective.
helpful.
You see that she sees the face of that kid man,
Kid
man
yeah,
that she killed.
legit.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. So it's fine. In any case, she hesitates, and that's bad because then they stab her.
Yeah, the guy stabs her in the side. This moment, I want to talk about it because it reminded me of in Hunger Games: Catching Fire. The same thing happens to Katniss. So Katniss, spoilers for the Hunger Games. participated in the Hunger Games in the first movie.
Is that really a spoiler?
In the first movie, she survived the
Is
Hunger
that really a
Games.
spoiler?
And she was forced to shoot an arrow into a guy. What was his name? Marvel?
Yes.
No? Yes. She killed a dude. And in the second movie, she's like out hunting, tranquil little deer. No, it was turkeys. It was tranquil little turkeys. And she goes to shoot it, and then instead of seeing the turkey, she sees literally that actor came in to do.
Oh, they got that from this episode of Xena
exactly.
the Abyss.
Xena did it
first. And so, yeah, and she misses, the turkeys and stuff. So there you go. Hesitation because of your
PTSD.
Your PTSD from your murders that you did.
Yeah.
But I
Which you
love
have to
that
do.
even though, Gabs has this moment of freezing, then she's wounded, she continues to fight.
Yeah.
She does. She
very
does do
formidable.
it. Yeah. And there's so many guys now. And one bites her on the thigh.
A lot of
Ew.
thigh stuff.
Her thighs
happening.
everywhere.
They're everywhere.
What do you expect?
We'd be remiss if we
What would
didn't.
you nibble on?
Go to there, yeah.
The arms, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway. We're
So
on brand.
the dude grabs her and he throws her into the river. What was that tactic?
I think because she's still such a formidable opponent, even while injured, that they're just like, let's remove you from the fight. And they throw her into the river.
Because, their whole thing is collecting food.
That's true. It did
that
seem
was dumb.
It was
very
a little weird.
wasteful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since they can fix the stabbing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point.
So maybe this guy was just really...
Maybe he's like, I'll go find her later.
Maybe he was new. He must be new here.
Well, whatever. She's in the river.
It makes
Yeah.
the whole plot go.
Yes.
So thank you, guy.
Yeah, thank you. And then Xena's like, and she just runs and jumps right in.
She did. Well, we did not mention that Xena does see Gabrielle get stabbed, which is
Yes.
always great.
She goes,
'cause then
"Gabrielle!"
She screams Gabrielle. It's like,
Yeah.
when it gets started when she got also shot. And she
Yeah.
screams Gabrielle. It's good. I like when Xena can't stop something from happening and has to yell Gabrielle.
Right, 'cause she
and
had, like,
then
20
just
guys
keep
on
fighting other dudes.
Yeah.
Is this
Oh,
the
man.
first time we're mentioning One Against an Army?
In this
Yes.
episode?
Yeah.
We mention it every episode.
I know. But
Well,
obviously,
this is it's relevant.
like,
It's
her
it's the
comfort
price
extravaganza meets One Against an Army.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is when the structure goes from being the same as the price to instead, on a dime, switching to
Right.
being One Against an Army.
Okay. So they're flowing towards this waterfall. They set up that there's going to be a waterfall later, so they had to get off their canoes anyway at a certain point. So, man, there's some, craziness happening in this river. There's a absolutely hysteric shot of Zoe Bell.
Oh, yeah?
Where she's like, poor girl. They threw her into this super churning water. She's floating around and her Xena wig starts coming off. And she legit adjusts it. It's really funny. It is
Oh my God, I
worth,
missed it.
It's
Adorable.
worth going back and
That's
looking
getting
for this.
gift for sure.
Yeah, it's really funny. So Gabs' foot gets stuck on some rope from some kind of crash.
Unclear what that is. Yeah, maybe
There's
a raft.
Yeah,
that's
yes,
a wreck.
exactly. So
Yeah.
her foot is stuck, and oh no, she's dead now.
Oh
Yeah,
no, she's
so
dead now.
it's over.
Oh, we gotta mention just all the good name calling,
Oh yeah, I mean,
which
he
sounds
kind of did.
slightly.
Oh, in the
not
river
what I
when
mean.
they're
Yeah,
bobbing
oh,
around,
okay,
the
yeah,
two
yeah,
of them.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, so
that's
much.
so good.
Back and forth.
That's
Xena,
like some
Gabrielle.
Titanic, Jack, Rose,
Oh,
Jack,
shit,
Rose.
yeah.
It's good stuff. Good content.
So, but Xena finds her,
And then there's
Yeah.
the coats.
Yeah,
this is
this
where
is
they
when
lose
the
the
coats
coats. Yes,
disappear.
yes.
I
Too
mean,
bad.
I could have seen Xena taking it off, but I don't know.
Maybe
Where everyone's-
it just
I
that
don't know.
shot did not turn out.
Yeah, they were just like, we don't need that.
I don't think they even put them in the water in the coats.
Yeah,
I just
I-
think
I'm
that-
sure
that's
this
what it
was
is.
a bad idea.
Yeah. Also, Gabs didn't have it when she was thrown in.
oh, maybe I don't
I think
remember.
they already lost them somehow.
But
They-
Xena jumps in with it.
We haven't talked
Well,
about.
then we
Do you
did
guys
not see
like
it.
the coats? I like these kind of
I do
in
not.
between weather coats. No,
They look like Sherlock Holmes coats to me.
maybe that's why I like them.
And
I
I
appreciate
don't.
them having a coat.
I guess.
I thought it was cute. They're in the woods. It's kind of cold and wet.
All
they have a little
right.
coat.
All right.
She's rescued now.
Yep. Xena takes her and she drags her into this cave. that's kind of, you know, at the side of the
Just
river.
right before the waterfall.
This is so
okay.
interesting as
Yeah.
a location. Like, whoever came up with this, I'm like, wow, this is very original to have them stranded in a cave that's just, like, on a waterfall.
Yeah.
It
Like,
looks cool.
It does look cool.
Like, the interior of the cave, like, looking out into the river, it looks legit. It
Yeah.
looks like they're in a gross cave.
Yeah, the cave, ooh, I was very
it's
worried
super
about what was
claustrophobic.
in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
I don't
part
like
of,
it.
I know. Well, that's part of what we already kind of mentioned a little bit, but where it's just all wet and terrible and gross. And everything just feels very tactile and nasty, and it adds to, like, I think they even talk about how horribly uncomfortable it is to
course.
film in this.
I would imagine.
And it like literally adds to your performance because you're like, I'm wet and cold and this sucks.
Yeah.
So it so it
The
really
fact that
contributes.
there's nowhere, like, even when they do get to, like, the shelf at the back of the cave, like, they're not really
shelf.
dry.
No,
you know?
it's like
No.
full of water.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like, there's
Xena at
nowhere
one
to
point is
go.
like, Xena tells Gabs, get dry, or like, stay warm. I'm like,
Dry.
what the
She's
fuck is
on
she
this,
gonna
like,
be?
rock ledge, and their feet are still, like, submerged in the water, but, like, the thighs are
yeah.
kind of okay.
They're drying.
They're
Anyway,
dry.
well, first she drags her in, like bobbing along.
Right, because remember,
And-
Gabs is dead.
She's dead. I'm scared.
Yeah, we're terrified.
Yeah. So she like kind of like pulls her up on the like first rock there.
Is that the shelf you were talking
No,
about?
no.
Okay,
This
yeah,
is
the
like
shelf.
when they first
Yes,
get in.
the first rock.
This is
And
the
then-
foyer.
yes.
So this
of
is
their
the-
new apartment. The cave,
Yeah.
the river cave.
This is the first nice little thing. Basically, Xena's like straddling her and slapping her in the face.
Right. This is where I was like, how come she's not immediately jumping to CPR?
She just slapped her in the face first. You could do that first and see if it's all right, and then she just immediately spit out of the water.
Okay, so these are the rules of TV CPR. First you slap. If it doesn't work out, then you just
Also, Xena has no
Throw their
breath
fist.
in her own lungs, as is evidenced by her breathy dialogue.
Oh, man.
oh,
so
but
good.
that's so good.
Well, I'm saying she can't do
Yeah.
that TV CPR right now.
Anyway, so she's it's good because this is all good acting.
Oh, yeah.
She's very scared and like desperate voice, very nice. Then very relieved when Gab spits water out.
Yes.
So much so that you get a very lovely forehead kiss, and
Yeah,
she
and
like
it's, like,
smooths
very
her
just, like-
already smooth hair back.
yeah.
Oh, I just love how she pounces on her. For
Yeah,
that, too.
it's
She's
like-
just like, oh, you're okay. Oh my god.
Yeah,
so-
yeah. I love all the times she smushes Gabs against her like
Yeah.
exposed neck chest area.
Exposed neck
It's
chest.
weird, but okay. Yeah. Oh, it's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's just so nice.
I just love how breathless they both are.
Yeah.
Like, I love the, come on, Gabrielle.
Yeah, they're
then-
already freezing.
And then
like,
when
it's
Gabs
really
wakes
cold.
up and is like, my side.
Oh, yes. Yes. So Gabs has a bit of the blade stuck in her side.
This is
Yes.
when I was watching this episode with Katie, and Katie very helpfully decided to just speak along with all the dialogue from the cave scene. And her favorite, I would say, seemed to be this line about the bit of a blade. I'm not, she'll have to explain why, because I have no
I
idea.
like the intonation. Where,
Can you do it
yeah, she's
for us?
like, you got a bit of blade stuck in your side. Like, it's just like I don't know, it's
Wow.
different than the rest of it.
You
It's
guys, you see, this is proof. Katie watches the cave stuff
Every
over
day.
and over
I have
every
this
day.
episode on my phone. I could literally tell you nothing about this show. It's one of like very few selects that made it onto my phone. But
This episode, though, is also provides maybe the best still shot, I think.
the stills, I wrote that down.
Yeah.
The stills. Yes.
Particularly that one of Xena's face.
Well, it's on your computer and
Yes.
it's my icon on Tumblr, RIP Tumblr.
Aw. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Best
do have
stills.
special place in
Shit.
our hearts for these parts of the episode.
I forgot to mention that earlier. I should have said that Xena's hair is really good because it's got the like two ties back and situation like on each side, which I think really contributes to how great it looks soaking wet.
Oh, okay. Because when it's dry, I thought it looked kind of bad. Like
Oh, I
it
think it
looked
was
it
good.
looked kind of like attacked by humidity, kind of.
Yeah, but in a cute way.
But her hair never does that, so I was like very.
It's in
I
a
was
cute.
very
It's in a cute way.
surprised.
Anyway, so
This is when Gabs has that great line about how she calls them like these things, those things.
Yeah.
They bit us like they wanted to eat us, she says, and this just like real. Her voice is just like full of revulsion. I feel like
and cold. Like she's already like shaking. And cold. Yeah, and it's like very I
feel like we've never heard this tone from her before. You know, Gabs is there's still that little kernel of her, that sweet baby angel, and I felt like she's being confronted by something like more horrible, I feel, than she like knew existed.
Have they not encountered cannibals before? They've just only heard. They've only heard about the Selma Blair versus cannibals, right?
They've only heard about that.
Yes.
Because, like, I don't know. It's just they.
Yeah, I can't
they
think
seem
of
to
another.
be so shocked that this is a thing that exists and is happening, and like, just how revolted she is by it.
Yeah, it's a horrible idea, and you really feel that kind of primal, like, ugh, I can't believe that's what that is.
Xena should have been like, at least it's not the Horde.
They're okay with the Horde. They made peace with them.
Kaltaka.
They say that in this.
Yeah, that's an interesting callback.
They say Kaltaka?
Somebody apparently ADR'd Kaltaka into that end where the cannibals get washed away.
What? So they are Horde?
That's part of the anti-price thing. We'll get to it.
Wow.
It's weird.
Okay. I didn't hear that.
Stay in this cave.
Yes. Cave. Go for it. Xena takes out a knife and she's like, ready? And she like cuts out the little piece.
And this is just so good, the way Gabs is sort of twisted around so like Xena can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really real and brutal.
It's visceral. All of this stuff is really visceral, which really adds to it.
Yeah.
And then, so while she's doing the like digging out of the little peas, which is so gross.
She gives her a stern talking to.
I love how mad she gets. Because she's like, this is exactly what she was afraid of.
Yeah, exactly.
And now she's fucking angry.
Yeah.
Like she's pissed
off. She warned her about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not going to let you get yourself killed. Like, you have to stop seeing that boy's face, like, every time you're in a fight.
Yeah.
And Gabrielle calls it a lecture. She's dismissive.
It's true.
She's like, just stop the lecture. Yeah.
Well,
now she's hurt and mad, and it's like...
Who wants to hear this now?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So she tells her to go into the shelf in the back.
Oh, I also love how mad she is at the little piece of blade. Like, because, she, like, looks at it, like, really, like, pissed off at it and throws it away. Anyway, go to the back.
Yeah, and this is where she's like, try to keep warm, lol. Yeah. And
good luck with that.
Xena's gonna check out what's going on.
Yeah.
So she gives it her best shot. Xena, that is. And she climbs she has to climb these like vines to get up onto the bank. It's like a super
sheer drop.
Yeah. And as she's climbing, the cannibals, they start throwing rocks and like bones and stuff
Mostly
at her.
bones, I think.
I think it's all of it.
Definitely like a lot of skulls.
Skulls,
just, like,
maybe that's what
plonking on her head.
Okay, yeah. So she can't get even up there.
She gives up.
Yeah.
She falls back down and then goes back to the sad, wet cave.
She has no choice but to go back and cuddle Gab.
So she's in, like, it literally, I guess it's been, how long has it been?
It didn't seem like it's
sunsets, right?
Oh,
anyway,
maybe it's just so dark in that
she went
cave.
out there, she climbed, she got thrown at, she fell. But anyway, she gets back and Gabs is like lying in the back, and she's already like, your wound is getting worse. Like immediately. And she just like pulls her to her. Oh no, it's no good.
Yeah.
She says, we've been in worse scrapes, which I assume means one against an army. I feel like that's on her mind now, that she sees Gabs in this constricted situation, like getting worse. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she's just like, I'm gonna get you out of here. Like, count on it. Yeah. Anyway.
Snuggle.
Oh, it's just, I don't know. What can you say?
Very good.
Yeah, it's good. So, okay, back to fucking Virgil. Guess what? The cannibals want to eat him, and I'm 100% okay with it.
Chasing him around.
Next slide.
Yeah, next slide.
Bye. Oh no, we're back in the cave. I like, but first it's like there's a storm. So now it's like even shittier.
Yes.
It's like,
well, first I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? And then you'll see what it has to do with it.
Yeah.
So this is some grade A content here.
Oh, yeah.
This is like the best thing that ever happened to me personally.
think you're qualified to discuss it here, Katie.
Can we first discuss, like, the positioning?
Yes.
So we have...
Pieta?
Yeah, the pieta going on.
Yeah.
Gabs is all curled up in the lap.
Oh, she even has this Jesus side wound.
She has the Jesus side wound. She's curled up in the lap. The coverage on it is straight up Ides of March.
Yeah.
Like our previous
Oh,
Pieta
yeah.
situation. So just
Right.
like the back and forth between the two close-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then finally, like at the end of the scene, you get the two shot of
Yeah.
Xena like leaning in to kiss Gabs and cuddle her closer. That's like straight up how they covered Ides of March.
Very
the big
nice.
scene in the dungeon.
Well, there's a very good conversation that happens right now. Quite integral conversation, when we say. Gabs is she's feverish. She's straight up feverish because of her
A la
wound.
One Against an Army.
She has a very specific pattern of feverishness. It's
shit.
like, you get a little floppy, and then the next scene is that you're super delirious, and then later you're kind of fine again, even though you're worse. The delirium is gone, but she does this several times. Yes.
It's interesting. I mean, I'll put a pin in it because I want to
Okay.
talk more about the parallels to One Against an Army and why this is a thing Gabs does.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think it's all a test for Xena? She does it on purpose.
She's faking it.
She's always faking it. These are
Like-
perfect times to test Xena. It's Xena's test day. So,
Interesting.
Yeah, it's sort of what I'm going to say.
Shit.
Thanks for ruining it.
you're welcome. So she starts hallucinating, and she thinks she's talking to Hope.
She says hope.
Yeah, but that's how we
says,
know.
Did you say something?
Yeah, Xena at first is like hoping she didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Or did she not hear it at all?
But she gets what she's talking about.
I know.
It comes to her.
There's some bits of there's an interpretation of the first half of the scene before she kind of says "my child," where one would take it and go like, Xena didn't hear that, so thinks everything from there to "my child" is about her. But in no universe does Gabrielle call Xena "my baby."
Oh, shit. Right.
I just don't. You could take it as a subtext moment as if you'd like. In that capacity, but it just in absolutely no universe, even in a delirium, does
Yeah.
Gabrielle call Xena "my baby."
And you can see from Xena's face that she
Yeah.
understands she's talking
She understands
to Hope.
pretty
Right.
quickly.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can when she says hope, I think Xena might have mistaken it for help. That sounds very similar.
Presumably, it's the first thing Gabs has said in a while.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
kind of the way it's
Yeah,
played.
yeah.
So she's sort of like, wait, what? Are you
Yeah,
talking again?
yeah, exactly.
Right. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that after she says my baby, she reaches up to Xena's face and Xena takes her hand and kisses it and kind of nuzzles it.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
it's very good.
Yeah.
The scene is like absurd in the goodness of it.
We're gonna be so intellectual.
Yeah.
It's so
No,
good.
we are. We're being super intellectual.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's so tender and sweet, but then they're talking about the ripped.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I mean, isn't that such a nice
It's
like
so
contrast?
it's so good.
Is
scene
this
so
the
good.
episode title?
Oh,
The Abyss?
yeah. What? Yeah.
Do you think it's this unresolved chasm between them,
It's
or
the
do you
abyss
think that
between them.
it's to do with nothing?
I think it's a reference to James Cameron's The Abyss.
No, it isn't.
No, I don't know.
I think it should have been called The Village.
Yeah, it actually is a slightly strange title because what is the abyss?
Well,
Yeah.
staring into the abyss.
There, I mean, we sort of have the waterfalls falling into this
Right, a
abyss,
literal
abyss.
Okay.
But you also have these cannibals who seem to sort of be like a kind of abyss in which like human values doesn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. But then you also have this abyss, the best abyss,
Yeah.
which is
also the cave, the set of the cave. It's a big black hole.
that's
so
good.
that's they're in the abyss.
I like
and,
it.
And the whole substance of this episode is right here. So everything else can go down the river.
GTFO for all I care.
Yeah, it can go into the river abyss.
No, that's a lie. I like all the canoe stuff and the herd problems. But okay.
Virgil can go down the river abyss.
Continue.
So I love that Gabrielle, in her delirium, sort of casts Xena as Hope.
Yes.
And Xena, understands that that's what's happening and allows it, like role plays it with
Yeah.
her,
right.
which is very.
I mean, she
interesting.
doesn't answer. She doesn't she allows it, but she doesn't you know, provide. She goes, you have to rest now. Like, she doesn't provide, like, answers.
She doesn't actually,
like, it's okay, Mom.
But
you
she
know?
does agree. Like, she says, yes, it's me when asked.
Right.
Yeah. She tries to just sort of be that sweet, supportive voice, the voice that Hope was not, you know, this loving voice.
Right.
Yeah.
So my favorite part of this moment is when the dialogue happens like so. She'll hurt you. She'll take you away from me. You don't understand. And then Xena goes, I do understand. I understand everything. And I love this because I think this is like the first time she actually saw how hurt Gabs was by the rift and the Hope stuff. Like, we went through it all, but I don't think Xena fully got it until maybe now.
I feel like, you know, at the end of the rift, Gabs forgave Xena, and, like, Xena didn't exactly feel like she had to forgive Gabs.
Well, yeah, because her demon child, who should have been killed, and, like, you know, killed her own son. So she would never forgive her. And I don't think she, you know, still didn't. But I think at this moment she allowed herself to understand that maybe Gabs really did believe that this was her actual child.
No, I mean, I think you really see that when she says, you're my child, you see that on Xena's face, and you wonder if maybe Xena had to go through, like, the Eve arc to really finally understand, like, that thought process.
Right, exactly.
Finally, she can really empathize with Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Especially now that she's literally hearing Gabrielle's, like, internal monologue.
And we brought this up when we were talking about some of that in the Eve plot, when, like, how it's just, like, we had to make Gabrielle have these feelings because it's not addressed. We had to, like, read it into stuff.
Yes.
And this is, like, okay, now we're going to address it so that it's actually...
Yeah, but again, like, that's kind of a bummer because it is technically making it be a selfish moment from Xena yet again. Because, like, it only through her own evil child does she understand Gabs.
That's often how empathy works, though.
It's true.
You have to apply it to something in your own life.
I would like to read this moment as her actually seeing the hurt, the true hurt.
I think you're right.
The true hurt of Gabrielle.
Absolutely.
Versus like, oh, I get it only because my kid was evil for a bit.
She was just so dismissive of Gabrielle the first time around. Like, Gabrielle was saying all these things the first time around, and Xena was just like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
And this time she hears it and she really, she feels
she sees it. Yeah.
And also, of course, to hear herself described as this sort of, you know, villain.
Yeah.
Right,
you know?
yeah, exactly.
She'll hurt you. She'll take you away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Xena features in this moment only as the threat.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's such a wonderful aspect of this really tender, beautiful moment.
Yes.
Xena's entering into this role play where Xena herself is a bad thing, and it sort of accepts that.
Right.
It's sad and
it's
painful.
really good. And that's why she extra cuddles her, and like the tears. You think it's just you think that it's just droplets of water, but it's not.
No,
it's the tears.
Those are the
and
tears.
So many at once. There's
they just like
cascade of them at one point.
Exactly.
Her hands are all over the place, trying to like keep her warm and stuff too, and also playing with her ear. It's fine.
So we like around the time of motherhood and then coming home, we were kind of putting a pin in the conversation of whether the show would ever fully kind of come to terms with the whole hitting Gabs in the head with the chakram thing. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think now seeing The Abyss again, that this scene does a great job actually of by like not mentioning it at all. It actually does like feel like a good way of kind of wrapping that up, because Xena finally understands how much pain Gabrielle was in from Hope and like continues to be in, and like she says, I understand everything, and I feel that I understand everything is her saying like, oh, I shouldn't have hit you in the head with a shotgun. that was a mistake. So yeah, I mean, this is like I was sort of saying that their direct addressing of it in Coming Home didn't work for me because it felt so like, you know, superficial. Like, I'm sorry for doing that. That's okay. You had your reasons. You know? like here to just see like, you know, the vulnerability of Gabrielle and obviously Xena too is so vulnerable, and being able to just say, I understand. You feel like that's it. Finally, they've reached this place where they're open and honest about their heartbreaks. And you know, the fact that in the past they have done things that have hurt the other one. I think that it's nice to have that really like put at the forefront here.
Is there more to say about this part? Or can we...
Well, there's another forehead kiss.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, you're just like procrastinating the inevitable, which
No,
is
I
the
don't
next
wanna
scene,
leave.
which is fucking Virgil.
Oh, yeah,
Well, there's another one.
This is why The Abyss as a whole is not a great episode, because the fact that you keep having these cave scenes interrupted by Virgil and
Can
cannibals.
we talk about her woeful eyebrows?
Please.
Lucy has some good eyebrow action, like makes her face very sad looking because she's so sad.
Yeah.
Her voice is so desperate. I love that. And I just love how, like, with the end of that scene, the, like, shot, they're just so smushed together.
Yes.
They're just smushed.
Yeah,
It's
because
like-
body heat.
Well, yeah, that too. And it's like, that's another thing with, like, I just feel like they are cold too, so it helps.
Yeah, it does help.
Yeah, they said something like the actors, like, reminiscing about the scene, said they actually enjoyed this cave stuff. 'Cause,
Get to cuddle.
They liked getting to cuddle. Yeah, they were both so cold separately.
All right.
Yeah, it's great. This is why I love this show. Yep.
And this is kind of it for the Rift, I think. I don't think it'll come up really again in the show. And I think it's a good ending.
Yeah.
I also think it's really clever of them. You know, they tried back in One Against an Army. It's a very premature moment to try to, like, resolve the rift, as there's still, like, more to come.
Yeah.
But, like, I like that they repeat kind of the dynamics of One Against an Army again. Like, it's almost like they're like, One Against an Army was the right way to resolve the rift. It just happened too soon, so let's just do it over. And this time, finally, it works. I do want to unpin my pin about the delirium.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
right. I actually was going to say something about it too.
Yeah, okay. So, like, first I will say that, like, I think it's really interesting for Gabrielle's character because she's such a kind of, you know, she speaks her mind. She's very open and honest as a character. You would actually expect Xena to be the one who falls into this hurt comfort trope where only when she's sick does she, like, reveal her true feelings.
Yeah.
So I actually really love that it's Gabrielle because it's a little going against that, like, kind of those character roles. Like, you know, that actually, despite being so open and honest, there are things that Gabrielle has always, like, had trouble saying to Xena.
Yeah.
And I feel like in One Against an Army, it's about, you know, just how much she wants to be with her and how, you know, kind of repeating those lines from Sins of the Past and understanding, like, the cost to Gabs of, like, going on that path. That's what One Against an Army is about. Here, the hope stuff, which, of course, Gabrielle just seems unable to talk about with Xena, finally comes out. So, yeah, I like that in some ways. You don't think about Gabs as being, like, this stoic, like, kind of restrained character, but she has those qualities, too.
I think it's a lot to do with how her position, you know, she's always been afraid that Xena will be like, Xena would break up with her, you know? So she keeps, like, these major things tucked away.
Yeah, she can't look too vulnerable for Xena.
Yeah.
What did you want to say about the delirium?
I feel like I had some kind of point about the first one, what being that sweet baby angel, like, very early flashback to season 1 from season 3, where she was like, I want so much to be like you, and Xena's like, I want to be like you. But, like, you know, now we are in season 6, and it is actually, like, by season 3, Gabs is getting some skills and things, but, like, season 6 and what we've just watched and things to come, like, she now, like, kind of is in that point where she is much more like Xena, and so it's just, like, interesting to think about. I don't know how it relates to the second one, so I feel like I lost
the
plot, but, like,
you're absolutely
you know,
right.
and then now these kind of scenes too, because you actually do, when we get to the next scene, you have Xena talking about, like, her Gabs being on this path of, like, becoming Xena-esque or what have you. So it's interesting. And just, like, the personal cost to Gabrielle of being on that road.
All right, so Prison Adventures of Virgil and Friends. Oh my God.
Just to go real fast.
Yeah.
We meet Rubio, and this is
Marco Rubio?
No.
What?
He's taller than him.
Oh, jeez.
This is a character who just does not need to be here at all.
No, 0%.
Like,
skip him.
Well, I think it's worth pointing out. This guy's played by Ian Harcourt, who he knows Lucy from when they were on Funny Business together.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that is
Their
nice.
very first IMDb credits for both, and we talk about that in our Lucy Lawless IMDb experience part 1.
But I don't need this character.
I don't need the character either, and it's like, why are you here?
He's so underdeveloped. Like, he's clearly not doing anything in the episode.
Right.
His whole thing is that he's a very thin-looking dude, and the character Rubio has one joke about his name, which is Rubio. You may call me.
We don't know.
We don't
even know.
He never gets to finish.
Well, he does at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
He pinches Virgil's butt, and I like that moment, but it was
you?
only because he was like, you're like more plump, and so they'll eat you first.
Why do they even have Rubio?
Just in case, man, they don't have any
they get
food.
too hungry,
They
yeah.
have to have him, but he has like no meat on his bones. So, whatever. This is terrible. Let's move on. So the cave's flooding because of
Skip the zebra joke.
Right. The
yeah,
storm.
Xena zebra.
Right.
Okay. The storm created water to like the tide or whatever. I don't know how rivers work. More water happened.
Yeah, definitely more water
and
happened.
it is now flooding.
Yeah.
Their
the
little cave.
Oh
Yes.
gosh. Yeah.
Gab's on a shelf is floating.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so bad. She's just, oh my god, I hate it when they like cut to her just lying like
in the
half submerged
Yeah,
in
it's
the
real
water.
bad. It's
It
real
just
bad.
feels-
And
oh,
also,
it just-
isn't her
ugh.
wound kind of towards the back? That doesn't seem good if the wound is literally
Yeah, it's like
underwater.
in the water.
Which side was it
Well,
on?
it was
on her.
It's like there's a wound continuity issue. She
Oh,
gets stabbed on the
no.
left and then they fix it on the right.
Ah, shit.
This is-
well,
isn't-
they might have
isn't
flipped the shot.
One Against an Army also has some wound continuity
Oh, you think they flipped the
issues.
shot?
They might have.
Yeah,
Whenever
maybe.
that happens, if it happens by accident like that, it
Yeah,
could be
so it's
because
something
they
like that.
flipped the shot in post.
So she would have had her right side out of the water. So if they're fixing it on the right, then she's trying to keep it out of the water.
Yeah, so the cave is just now like basically flooding up. So Xena's like, we have to get out of here. But Gabs has a last request.
Oh no. Help us all.
And Xena reluctantly listens.
But you don't want to hear it.
I
She
know.
don't want to hear this, but she's reluctantly listening.
I just say, yes, I don't want to hear. My God. Well, Gabs' reaction to that is so good. She's like, I'm serious.
Yeah,
You don't want to know. Like, yeah.
Ugh.
yeah, she thinks Xena's kind of fooling with her. Their usual dynamic.
Okay. So Gabs says that she does not want to be buried with the Amazons.
And Xena says, yeah, well, in 50 years,
Yeah.
when the time comes.
Gab says that she wants to lie with Xena and her family in Amphipolis.
Xena's reaction is, what about your family? And like caresses her face.
So much face touching in this.
And-
It's like
man.
off the charts.
All right, and then we have this like absurd line because it's like too much.
I love them, but why is this too much?
It's so good.
Oh, I see.
I can't
too
believe it's
much.
happening. It's
Too
too
much
much. It's all. It's
I
so
see.
feelings.
I love them, but I'm a part of you. I want it to be like that forever.
I love you. What?
Best friends. Gals.
Gal pals.
I love the shot of their hands.
the hands
Hand
clasping.
squeeze. Oh, okay. So first, though, the camera on Xena's face, Xena looks horrified. I love that face. I don't know what to do with it. It's so, like, I don't know if it's like the reaction that you expect or want,
Yeah.
but it's perfect. And it feels correct in this moment of like, and she's looking at this girl who's like dying basically in this moment. And
Yeah.
like, that's why we get to like the past stuff. But like,
Isn't
I
it?
don't know. It just...
Isn't it the best how they tell each other "I love you" in like the worst times ever?
Absolutely.
And it's like continuous. It still continues.
It really brings it out in you.
Yeah, you got no choice.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love her face and she's like dripping. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about it.
I also like how Gabs, looks so cold and miserable, but then she's flushed. They still have sort of like the fever makeup on her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they do that also hand squeeze, which is very nice.
The hand
And
squeeze is good.
I love the detail of the hand, like the bite marks.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
good also. But, just, they're gross. Anyway, I love it.
Yeah, single tear on Xena as well.
And this is when they met, in the tomb in Amphipolis, when Gabs says you're not alone.
Yeah.
That's sort of like their meet cute in a way, when Gabs first invites herself along into Xena's life. So it feels very correct that Gabs is like, I want to be buried there.
Yeah.
Help me. And okay, so then Gabs launches into "This is all my fault."
Again.
Guilt. Oh,
Yeah.
these two and the guilt.
These two and the guilt.
Hard to murder. It's if only they could just be blasé about it.
Ah!
Yes, please. No, I'm just kidding. I love Xena here because she goes, she grabs her by the shoulders and she gives her a little shake.
Yeah,
and she
she's
says,
like,
"It's not your fault." And then she says, "It's not your fault."
Guess what? She says,
It's mine.
It's mine, Xena. For setting you on a path you were never meant to walk.
Oof.
What is that?
Oof.
Xena.
Wow. You knew that. That's why she's been
had with
so, she does not want to talk about legacy anymore, because that's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
Right. Any path is okay, Xena, as long as it's with you. Shut up.
Romantic.
But
so good.
Is
Also
it?
really dark and sad.
Dark.
Yeah.
It's dark.
I
I think
love
this
it.
stuff is upsetting.
Any path's okay.
I think it's romantic
Any
and
path.
super upsetting.
Yeah.
And it's it's rough. This is rough stuff.
That one feels particularly one against an army. Any
Yeah.
path.
Well, they're saved by a Xena line here because she goes, "I'm setting you on a path to somewhere warm and dry."
Yeah.
I
didn't
liked
like
it.
I didn't like it at
I feel
all.
like they've gotten so deep into the emotions
love
that
it.
Xena has to pull back with
She has
something.
No, she has to ruin it with the
Pull out
lines.
of the abyss.
Yeah.
Up into the light.
Out of the abyss, please.
So all this was happening, and like Xena was kind of like tying some vines or rope around
Oh yeah.
Gabs.
Yeah, she's tying her up.
Because she had a plan to get him out, and the plan is to put Gabs on as a little backpack.
Yep.
And climb on the cliff.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's awesome.
So when they get up onto the bank of the cliff, she sees that there was guys with torches coming.
But also when she gets up on the top of the cliff, she there just to get up and over, just that scream.
Oh, yeah.
That, primal. She's
Ooh.
struggling.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
get up
yeah.
there. Oh,
It's so
Gab's
nice.
backpack is heavy.
This episode has a great balance of super Xena, Xena to the rescue, being really powerful, and then also Xena, weak,
I mean, she
Struggling.
climbed a giant cliff
But it was
with a
hard.
Gabs on her
Gross,
back.
soggy cave for
Yeah.
hours. and
Yeah,
hours.
she had a soggy
It
Gabs
was
on her.
hard.
Stiff.
You feel the effort of it, which
Yeah.
I really appreciate. I
Yeah.
like that this stuff doesn't come easily to her, because it shouldn't.
Well, certainly chopping down trees comes easily
It
to
does.
her. Okay, so they're on the bank, and guys are coming, and Xena's like, "Aw, shit. Well, Gabs, please trust me.
Ugh.
Bye."
Bye. She could have real fast been like, "I'm sending you to the cannibals. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna get you later. Bye."
Yeah, she did not. She was like, "Bye."
It's scary.
Yeah.
She doesn't really have a lot of time. Gabs is kind of out of it, so she's
Yes.
not really
I don't think.
in
Yeah,
the-
I don't think
feel
she
like
maybe
she's in a
even
good
heard the trust
headspace
me.
to
But then
hear.
she did later because she says,
Yeah,
Xena's
she
coming.
does trust her. I think
The
she does hear
plan.
it, but she also, when she understands what's happening,
Yeah.
is too horrified,
She's,
maybe, to
shivering.
remember.
She's saying it's cold. I'm cold.
Yeah.
Ugh. And it's so sad to have for Xena to just have to leave her there shivering on the ground
it's
and listen to her
awful.
calling for
Yeah,
her
I mean,
when the guys
yeah.
come.
That was rough. But
What?
Xena unleashes the war cry to
Yeah.
get the
This is
attention.
a great shot.
Yes.
And I think the audience is
it's-
like, "What happened? What?" Yeah.
Yeah, up
Shocking.
against that green screen with the lightning.
Lightning and the
Beautiful green
rain.
screen.
It's
Yeah.
it's an obvious green screen, but it kind of is just such a cool shot
Yeah,
that
that's
you
great.
don't
care.
mind. Yeah.
So Gabs is like, "What the fuck?" And then she's carried off by these dudes, and she's screaming Xena's name. And Xena kind of is hiding behind a tree and just taking it in and listening.
And it's hard. You
Yeah.
see how hard it is for her to go through with this.
Yeah.
Letting these guys take Gabrielle away from her. After the intensity of the cave, to go from this
Right.
moment of intimacy to this really awful separation.
So as Gabs is being carried off by these dudes, Xena is tracking them. She's stalking them.
I love these
This is
shots.
some good shit right here.
This is
some
Rick.
debt shit
King
right here.
Rick.
Yeah. Like, there's this amazing moment where she's kind of, like, hiding behind a tree, and you don't see her, but when the lightning hits, that's when you see her.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That was what reminded me of the debt a lot.
And then she kind of like steps into a like very tiny spotlight.
Oh,
that's
yes, just for her.
Just on
for
her blue eyes. And it's so dramatic. Love it.
Yeah. So 2 guys do spot her, and they attack. And here, like, this is, like, maybe the most casual throat slit she's ever done on this show. I mean, she, like, does not even give a damn, like, at all.
She kills these guys because she wants their hats.
Well, she kills them because they are attacking her.
But also their hats.
Yeah, after she kills the dude, she's like, oh, cool, I'll take your pig hat. So Gabs is brought into the same cell as Virgil and Rubio.
It's nice. She's finally in a nice warm place.
She
give
is,
her a
but
blankie.
come on.
He's nice and dry. I'm sure it feels good to like be
Cuddled
warm.
by a warm person.
No, it's like the same thing, except it's replaced by Virgil.
It's really not the same
It's cuddling
at all.
in Virgil's arms. It's the same positioning.
It's not.
I hate it.
It's not the same positioning,
It
number one,
is.
at all. It isn't.
She's
It is
like
in the
cuddled.
credits.
In the credits?
Yeah, one of these shots is in the new credits.
Wait, with Virgil?
Yeah,
you
Virgil's
see him in the
arm.
credits?
Yeah, just his
Just
arm.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, not his face.
Her
though.
head isn't like Xena's lap. And her
No,
head
but
here
she
is like
no,
up
because
his
Xena
arm.
puts her head in her chest neck.
Not the chest neck
One
again.
Listen, this is just, it doesn't have the same feel
Listen,
whatsoever.
you know what has
I'm just
an
grateful
annoying
that
feel?
she's warm.
And his beautiful manly arms. Ooh,
However.
how much we love Virgil.
But yeah,
For giving her warmth, yes. In this moment,
I would
yes.
prefer it if she got warm via Rubio's arms.
He's getting gross. We've decided that
His
he
low
doesn't.
body heat.
No. He doesn't know her.
Well,
Virgil
yeah,
knows
Rubio
her.
is like, you know what? They're gonna eat her first because women retain more fat.
The fuck?
Get
out of here.
Scientific facts, I guess.
Get out of here. All right.
So sure
next
enough,
slide.
the cell doors open, and like the guys come and grab Gabs out of Virgil's arms, and he's like, "No, take me instead." And they don't go to eat her, but they do throw her like onto this table
where
They
all the
should
food
have
was.
given
Oh,
Renee
right.
literally double whatever her salary is for just this episode alone.
She hated this. We'll
yeah,
get there.
every second of this I
imagine
would have
she
hated.
hated it.
I would have
She's so. I mean, look at what she's had to
beyond.
do recently. She was buried in the sand up to her neck. She
Yeah.
like was submerged in a zombie pool covered
Yeah.
in asparagus and Vegemite.
Yeah.
So this is a girl who does not complain much about the things they make her do at work, but this one was a problem.
This is the straw that broke the camel's back.
We'll see.
That's really sad.
So yeah, they like do some medicine for her. They make her drink something.
I mean, I thought this was pretty the closest to kind of rape imagery in this
was
episode.
upsetting.
Because
Yeah,
it was
it's
these
bad.
guys, they were holding
holding
Virgil
her
back,
down.
and he's all like trying to help her out. They're holding her down. There's this very specific shot, the close up of her wrists like being held and her hands struggling. And I feel like you didn't need that if you weren't trying to make some kind of rape allegory happen here. And
I also thought just her struggling, they're trying to get her to swallow, and
Yeah.
that goes on a really long time.
Really
too
long.
Yeah,
long.
yeah,
It became upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, this was an upsetting moment, and I mean, I don't know. We brought up hope, and then having her be kind of like, lying there on her back like that, and I don't know. Are we supposed to think of the deliverer somehow?
Oh,
There's some
God.
kind of like,
Oh, God.
I don't know, whatever,
I
rape
hope not.
imagery. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just really upsetting, gross.
So,
Everything's
yeah,
bad.
they
And
made her-
also the fact that this is something that Xena is banking on, which is them.
She's not banking on this particular.
Well,
moment.
that they're going to do some medicine to heal her.
How is she banking on this?
That's why she lets her get taken.
No way. She lets her get
Yes.
taken because she
She
cannot
needs to go
carry
somewhere
her off.
warm and dry where she's gonna have some medicine.
I think
I
that
don't
the
think so.
medicine is not.
That's not what she thinks is going to happen.
I don't know. There's no indication that she knows anything about these people.
Exactly. She didn't
other
go
than
look at their
that
village.
they're cannibals.
I
So,
think
like,
she
if
knows they're cannibals and they will restore Gabs so
That
that they
might
can
be
eat
part
her.
of it.
They
Yeah,
could
I
literally
think
just
the warm
eat her
and dry
first.
thing is number one, and then the hope is that maybe something might happen. But
The hope,
this
you
is-
say?
Oh, shut up! It's a word.
I think that she couldn't carry her. That's why I think she gave her up, because she's like, I'll get her later. I'll fetch her later. It's fine.
I believe her when she says warm and dry.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, it's she wants her to get fixed. So.
What I mean, I think that just happens by accident. Like, there's no way that these people foresaw this. Like, I hate them for seeing everything. Please just like let this happen.
I
as,
do
like, an
love the
accident.
idea, though, of Xena, like, using the cannibals for good. You
Right,
know,
she
she's like,
does.
yeah, I need Gabrielle
I agree
to be
with you.
saved. The cannibals are going to save her
Right.
in order to eat her.
Right. So the extent of her knowledge about what they're going to do beyond warm and dry is up for debate. But she could have hoped that was what was going to happen. And I said that again on purpose.
Yeah.
I think this is
Own it.
crazy, you guys. They literally took Hosep and they brought him straight and
I know,
ate
and
him.
they just ate him.
And like,
up.
I
And he
don't
didn't
get
have a
how.
wound.
But it
He
doesn't
didn't have a
matter. I
nasty
just
wound.
why.
Listen.
I just think
You hate when Xena knows too much.
there's no
I
way
get
she would
you.
know that they
There's-
have a full platter of food.
This is the thing, you guys. These guys are dumb, and
Yeah.
that's part of the problem with the episode. Is we could be
Yes.
here all day arguing about this because none
Yeah.
of this makes
None of
sense.
it makes
They
sense.
cook her in her fucking clothes. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna go cook her with her clothes on and her size on her legs. All that shit is gonna melt into her flesh. What are they gonna like eat?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand. They're dumb. The fact that they even do all this is bananas
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
they're gonna then throw her on the thingy with her clothes on.
Are you telling
Like-
us that this episode does not make any sense?
not very
Yeah,
good.
I am telling you that over and above the 4 scenes that I watch over and over again, there's no
It's
point to the rest of
Real
it.
poop. Yeah.
Anyway,
So
Well, yeah,
I like this moment after they've done their medicine,
Right.
where Virgil is like trying to be all heroic. He cradles her again, and he's like, "I promise I'm gonna get you out of here." And I love that Gabrielle's response is,
Yeah.
"Be ready when Xena comes."
I know. I
Yes.
love this.
She's not
especially-
like you ain't promising shit.
Right. Oh God, I hated him so much. I was so happy she said that, because you know what else he was doing? He was touching her face with his stupid fingers.
Calm your tits.
I
This
think
is Xena's
He's
territory.
out the door. This is his last
Good.
episode.
he's literally out the door, and the fact that you wouldn't want Gabrielle in this moment to have some comfort from a friend
No.
is so annoying.
I honestly don't even think she should have just been brought here on her own.
Ugh.
There shouldn't be a Rubio or a Virgil. Literally 0 other people but Gabs.
In any case,
She
he
can have
says-
Xena visions, like how Xena had visions of her from Gurkhan.
Great. So
I think it's all worth it for "Be ready when Xena comes."
Yeah.
I
Fine.
really do. It's a badass line.
Anyway.
Stop making
I
your
think it's
heroic
absurd.
promises.
I
man.
honestly think it's absurd that literally in this episode, and I know that the show's fine, and we all know how it ends, and we're all very confident in everything about this relationship and whatnot. But I think it is really absurd that in the same episode where Xena cradles her and Gabs wants to be buried in Amphipolis with her forever and says, "I love you," it cuts to this fucking moment of Virgil crying over her and touching her face and being like, "I'm going to save you and we're going to be together." That kind of
He
bullshit.
doesn't say that.
No, but like he loves her and like
I just
assumes
get
that that's
I
what's
don't
going to
want
happen.
I don't want to like get too crazy about this scene because it's not worth it. But like I get 0 of those vibes from that. I literally just see a guy who like is trying to comfort this person who's very very
But this
cold
scene
and
existed
sick.
for a reason. We know he loves her. He's following in his dad's footsteps of
I
loving
understand
Gabrielle.
that, but that's okay.
he's hotter.
It's okay.
And the
It's
show loves him.
I don't think that the show loves
He
him.
does. It
either.
does.
Like I really
It gives him all these moments that literally Ted never even got, because, like, I mean, he's not as good of an actor, I guess, as a dramatic actor, that is, as
What?
Virgil actor. Yeah, because like he gets all these moments where he's crying all the time. Like
He
he
does
gets
cry a
special
lot.
moments. The show loves this guy.
But Ted is good at drama. Anyway, also, I really am gonna disagree that you're seeing all of this
I think
in
I'm
these
seeing-
moments in this episode.
I think it's for the
it's
network.
Not there.
I think it's just there to like be like, this show's not gay.
Do you
It's
feel like
fine.
because they did the cave stuff, they now
don't
have to
think
have?
so.
a
I
man?
do. I think that's weird. I think there's no reason for both of these scenes to exist in the same episode.
it's
that's
just
for sure.
so it's just so nothing. Like it's such a nothing.
It's
There's
nothing
like
because it's
there's-
not
She
a real
literally
thing.
turns to him and says, "You are a nothing.
I
Be
know.
ready when Xena comes.
I know, I do.
You're making so much out of it. You don't need to.
I think that there is some kind of underlying like safety with him that is like specifically like for the network and whatever, but I don't like it because I really do not like
I love
this
her
guy.
fuzzy blanket. I'm just so happy that she has a blanket.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Maybe-
And they put a little red glow on her face, and you're like, oh, she's warm. She's finally warm.
Yeah, I'm not over it. Hold on. What if instead of Virgil, it was Eve and she was like being cradled by Eve?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Fine.
That
but
would be
Eve's not
fine.
here.
But like, why is it Virgil? Okay, I'm done. He gets a job on Dark Angel and never is on the show again. And I'm so happy for it.
Oh, you
Right.
really-
Whatever. I represent
They
everyone.
meant to have him back, but
Yeah.
Well, see,
Yeah.
fuck that. Why?
because he's a
'Cause
character.
they love him.
Oh,
He's
jeez.
so dreamy. He is like still a working actor.
Yeah,
He's like legit
he's
First
in
Man.
First Man.
Like,
I don't think
what
he's
is
that
happening?
bad. I think he's pretty.
I think
I
he's
don't
good
get
at
it.
acting.
Good on
You
it.
just
Don't get
resent
it.
him
I don't get it.
like the role
I
he
don't
is
see it.
put in here in
I
Xena.
hate this role.
Like
I
you said, the
hate
safety,
this.
the heterosexual safety.
I
Of
can't
course-
believe they
of course that's
created
an annoying
Joxer's
role.
hot son and said he also loves Gabrielle. That is some bullshit.
But none of them ever. It's never a threat.
But it's
the fact that you're
stupid.
so mad about it is so funny.
But it's
because
a
just
stupid
so
thing.
Non-threatening at
How
all
could
points.
you birth a son and have him also be in love with Gabrielle? Like, that is insane.
It's a little weird.
It's
That's
passed
why she's
down
really
through
not
the
into
ages.
it.
I hate it.
Like she really is not reciprocating anything with this
It
man.
doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Just the concept of like the brazen creation of this character.
I
is
love
what
you.
I hate.
I will rescue you. Okay, wait for Xena.
That's fine. No, I get it. I'm really happy that like it's not a thing. It's fine. Okay. I think I got all my anger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay.
sure hope
I'm
so.
sorry. It just was bubbling up until this episode. Apparently, Lord.
Jeez Louise. Sorry, Virgil.
No.
I think you're all right.
No.
And actor.
Oh, fuck no. All right, continue. What's going on here?
So I think after Xena snoops around in her boar costume, she sees whatever she wants to see. I assume
she sees them eating flesh, and she's like,
sees
"Yep, they
they're
are
eating
cannibals."
flesh. She sees that they have Gabrielle, I guess.
She
but
sees that
she's
they have
okay.
horses.
That they have horses.
Yeah.
And then she, I think, sees the medicine guy throwing stuff on the fire, which will be important later.
Okay.
And then she goes into a sequence. She
Yes.
leaves the camp to do a
To
sequence.
do a montage of.
I call it the Home Alone traps.
Oh shit!
It's
Yeah.
a
Okay.
very long Home Alone
All
trap
right.
building
With
scene.
the
Very
marbles.
sad music. I have to say, it's one of the few times in the show where I'm like, this music doesn't match anything that's going on.
The music is like go Xena, you can do it. You can chop these trees. Like
Oh, yeah.
tone,
Oh, yeah.
determined. Like
It's weird.
We've got it. It's-
I'm so
yeah.
jaunty.
it's a
so
really long
jaunty.
montage, and the music goes on and on.
Yeah.
She chops down so many trees.
I like it. Okay, so she takes her chakram, and it's full blown chops like a couple of trees. Then she takes her sword and chops like a much fatter tree with her sword, and you get the only good part of this I thought was this super slow-mo shot of the wood chips flying.
Ooh.
I thought that was beautiful. And like, you know, she kicks the tree and falls over, and Xena's pretty powerful, and that's kind
She
of
can
Oh
like
do
the
yeah,
that.
point,
like when she
you
kicks
know?
the tree over. It's good stuff.
That's pretty cool, even though it's unrealistic.
Yeah, but there was jaunty music over it, so we know it's not supposed to
Okay.
be.
I mean, there's like boulders she's putting in position.
Yeah. Oh, it's
I mean, she's
so
doing
complicated.
a whole fucking thing.
She's doing this presumably for months because she like builds a whole dam and cuts down most of the forest.
I wanted a shot of a beaver
Being
like, the fuck?
What are you doing, lady?
Yeah.
So yeah, she builds this damn thing on the waterfall, stopping the waterfall.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So Gabs' fever is broken because the medicine guy, before when they like made her drink all the red goo, he like sprinkled some dust on her, and so now she's healing.
Infection gone.
Yes, exactly.
So she like apologizes now to Virgil because she feels Virgil should know that her freezing in battle earlier in the episode probably prevented them from rescuing him. He didn't even know this.
She says it as if he knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, he has no idea.
And he answers as if he does. And I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Well, his
She very
answer is
explicitly
sweet.
says we would have rescued you by
Yeah.
now if I hadn't did this fuck up.
Again,
He
she could have phrased
says-
it like, so, Virgil, we were trying to rescue you, and I had this moment where I froze.
Oh my,
and
are you still on Virgil? Stop it.
No, I mean, I will refrain from even saying anything because he has a line next. And
I'm about to quote it, so
do
I'm
it.
trying to make sure
I'll be quiet. I'm
you're
zipping
being
it up.
quiet.
Zipped.
He says, never apologize for having compassion, Gabrielle. It's one of the most beautiful things about you. It's an important line. It's not really important that it's coming from Virgil, but it's important.
It's coming from Joxer, his dad, from beyond the grave.
Jesus. I think this line definitely ties back to the price where Xena says to Gabs, that's why I love that. Instead of saying you, I forget the full line.
Yeah, that's
But
legit.
she's talking about like they're doing the healing, and this is after Gabrielle has stood up to Xena and been like, hey, don't just send all these men to their deaths. Like be a more compassionate person.
Right.
And Xena understands that. You don't give in to hate, I think. That's what she says. That's why I love that. So this to me feels like a callback to this earlier version of Gabs, who still exists even now. Like Gabrielle's compassion has survived even as she's become a warrior.
So, okay, they come and take Gabs to be eaten now. They deem her worthy
Ready.
of food because she doesn't have a fever, I guess. That was important. All right. And they rip her out of Virgil's hunky arms, and he starts screaming, Gabrielle!
Oh.
And that's what Xena hears.
I'm so glad we won't have Virgil anymore, if only to give Vera's blood pressure a break.
I need all the alcohol now just to, like, deal with him. Okay, so cannibals spot Xena, and she gets bit on her leg.
Oh, yeah.
Also her thigh, and good to nibble on.
Yum, yum, yum.
Actually, no, it's her like ankle. So she like stabs, and in slow mo, there's like a lot of like more stabbing and throat slitting.
She does like this like cartwheel kick.
Yeah.
I mean, Zoe does. It's really good. It's a good kick.
So meanwhile, the cannibals are. This is where they start covering Gabs up in all
In
her
the
clothes.
marinade or the clay.
I think it's a clay.
Yeah.
It's so fucked up. And
But
like,
it's really mud.
I feel like we should just not have this.
Yeah,
Just
this
not.
is.
Gross.
It is really gross.
I fucking.
This is the part that Renee found really hard to do. She felt like she was supposed, I think Rick told her to struggle, and she found it impossible. She said she just kind of locked up, like be something about the claustrophobia of being tied up and then coated with this stuff and having this thing shoved in
the
her
thing
mouth.
in the mouth is
She used the word violation for it, and she said she just found herself, she felt like a victim in this moment,
Right.
she said, and she couldn't really work past it to like fight back. And that really was a disturbing experience for her. So, yeah, we finally found Gabrielle's. I mean, we finally found Renee's line. What is
I mean,
too much to
she's
ask
not
of her?
wrong.
Yeah,
Like it's a really ugly kind of situation.
It's nasty.
and these guys suck. I mean, that's what's so frustrating is these villains. They're just gross, and you're like, oh, you're gross. And we're about to talk about it, but having these particular villains be kind of there in an episode about Gabrielle's compassion and her freezing up in battle because killing someone is such a enormous act. Like, what does it mean when you're like having that moment with one of these cannibals who like hardly even reads as a human being?
Right.
It makes it so easy.
Yeah, it's so easy to be like, just buck up, girl, and start slaughtering them again because you've
Right.
got to. Like, there's no ambiguity here about whether or not these people deserve this.
I mean, the first guy where she did hesitate, I mean, he was a guy who was like about to be killed and he was scared. So
That's true.
It did read that way.
I guess so.
But then afterwards, like when she did hesitate, he like stabbed her.
Yeah.
So
And then later he's there being evil.
is that
some
the
more.
same guy?
I think so. She'll later kill him.
Oh my god! All right,
Gabrielle's revenge.
All right. So okay,
But this episode just could have been, more honest about these choices. Like, when we're talking about the enormity of taking a life, people are more complicated than just, I will baste you in the sauce and roast you on the spit.
they don't even season them.
Yeah.
And then when they eat them, they look raw. It's kind of crazy.
It does not seem like a tasty meal at all.
Ugh. Okay. Maybe if they had some ladies, they would have better cooking. Okay.
That's very sexist.
Put a coin in. That's what they're for my problematicness.
Put in a few coins.
Just for my hatred of Virgil.
Just for a lot of things. All right.
Okay, we hear Xena's war cry, and then the chakram flies in, and it undoes Gabs's bonds, and then it also like cuts the chieftain like guy's sword in half.
I love that then Gabrielle uses the spit as
Yeah.
a weapon. That's
Yeah.
a great moment. It becomes like just a giant staff. I also want to point out that we've heard the war cry a whole bunch in this episode. It feels very old school, in part, I think, because you have moments like that.
Right.
Like generous use of the war cry, the chakram.
Yeah.
New writer.
Yeah,
You bring
doing
in the references. You bring
doing
in
that
the
damn.
stuff.
Like, it feels very like season 2, season 3 era.
Xena tells Gabs to free Virgil and then get the horses. And then Xena does her like fire breathing thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right into the camera.
Yeah,
And,
right
like,
into the camera.
literally sets like 15 dudes on fire.
Yeah, there's one guy who's just running and then he becomes on a flame and he's like, "What? Ah!" Like it was like a really funny kind of reaction.
Still CGI.
Yeah, her fire breathing is still CGI. We're keeping track of it.
Waiting for it.
Yes. So she chakrams like a shitload of dudes.
Yeah, the chakram, she just kind of lets it fly.
And it just like keeps
kinda
going and does its
thing
thing
for a while.
Yeah. She does like a slow-mo smile.
Oh, yeah, that's a great shot.
Full of glee.
Yeah, we haven't done
So
this
many
one in
good
a while.
fighting
Yeah.
Yeah.
shots of her.
Yeah.
King Rick always getting the good slow-mo action.
So Gabs frees Virgil. He comes out, and also Rubio follows, and he picks up some weapons. So
Yeah,
also
he has
fighting.
like the double axes.
I thought they were are they axes? Yeah, they
thought
probably
axes.
are. Yeah. And they, fight their way to the horses. They escape on them, and they stop on top of that riverbank. And they they see a big trap. The big
They
trap.
see
that,
the big dam.
Yeah.
And Gabs is like, looks like the cannibals were the only ones cooking something
I can't believe Gab's got a line.
And
It's
not only that, but
crazy.
like making light of like the thing that
the
was
big traumatic
horribly
moment that
about
just
to
happened to
happen.
her. Yeah. So the plan is that Xena is going to lead the cannibals below the dam, and then she's going to signal for Gabs and Virgil to cut this vine.
She's putting her life in Gabrielle's hands.
Right.
'Cause she's going to be the bait for the cannibals.
Yeah.
And it's up to Gabs to
Yeah.
cut this vine at the right moment.
And they're like, Rubio, you take the horses away from here, and he's like, fine, I don't want to be here anyway. So Xena starts leading these cannibals to where they need to
With
go.
war cries. More
Right,
war
yeah,
cries.
yeah. And this where she's like, come and get it, piggy.
Piggy.
Yeah. But some of the cannibals are now arriving to where Gabs and Virgil are.
And this gives us a big moment.
Yeah.
Because Gabs, has to kind of make the decision to fight. And
Right.
They, make it a big deal when she, takes her sai out of her
Yeah.
boot.
I like that it was the detail that it was covered in the goo.
In the goo. And she's covered in the goo.
I mean, yeah, she is, but
But she has
the
this
fact
great
that,
death
yeah.
stare, covered in goop. The goop is kind of adding something, I think, to the shot.
So she takes out the sai, and she has a flashback of killing Cora again. It's the same weapon. Oh no.
But at the same time, this time you feel like it doesn't make her freeze. She kind of makes her peace with it this time in the flashback.
Yeah.
And then you cut back to her face looking very focused, like she is ready to fight.
And she does. She stabs the dude because he discovered the vine. So she has to.
And
she has
this
to do
first
it.
guy is the guy who she froze up with.
That's crazy.
earlier.
I can't believe you
Yeah.
recognized him.
I do, because he looks like Cora.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we wish maybe these guys are a little more something, just weren't entirely one-dimensional, so that they were just, that this mattered, that she decides, I'm gonna kill this guy.
Yeah, and especially after everything just went through, it's like, yeah, fucking...
Yeah, kill these people.
them.
Yeah. The episode
So-
makes it very, very easy.
I'm so bad at morals.
And it's not your
do
fault.
it.
It's the episode's fault.
Yeah.
I think the previous one, Legacy, was so careful about trying to make these situations complicated with no obvious bad guys.
If this could have been a more updated actual sequel to The Price that was intentionally an Antichrist, where they were in conversations with each other, that would have been actually way more interesting.
Yeah,
Because you have a
talking
way
about
less
it.
naive Gabs. Not that she was... again, we have the thing, their compassion and stuff is the best part of her, etc., from the price, but like to have that be what she's dealing with now, where it's like that plus being a warrior and her judgment and what's going on, to have that actually be talking to that other episode intentionally would have been awesome.
Yeah, it would have been nice in a way, you know, if they had come in being like, well, in the price, you know, we tried to negotiate with them. Let's try to do that now, and for that not to work, for it to be this more cynical vision of fighting, in which like one side is horrible and can't be reasoned with. Like, I don't know. Yeah, here you feel like it's almost an accident that it's such a kind of dark view of humanity.
So Xena is like basically she's in position and she's calling for Gabs to cut the vine, and Gabs is not doing it because she's busy fighting her own cannibals up there. And oh no, we're worried. But then she cuts it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Not while mowing down lots and lots of guys. She's like, yeah, do it. And it sets off this whole like domino chain. Yeah. And there's like boulders falling. And then the dam collapses.
Yeah. And all the cannibals fall into the river. And they're being carried off by the river.
And Xena just flips out of there onto the sheer rock face again. Exactly. Her friend, the rock face.
She does the horizontal flip, which is always hilarious. Yeah.
So here's like the shot I was thinking of that does try to kind of give these baddies a certain kind of supernatural charge. You have like the shot of like the arm coming up out of the water, being like a zombie arm almost.
I thought that was actually a reference to Legacy with the Roman soldiers being taken by the sand.
Oh, that's great.
So I thought like the natural, like
water.
The water takes this guy.
That's interesting. We just need a hand going into fire to complete the trio.
Well, the ring cycle.
So yeah, I thought that was a cool visual, a cool moment. I mean, it's cool to see the water descending on these guys. This is the moment where supposedly fans heard in ADR someone shouting Kaltaka.
Yeah, I didn't hear it, but it might be there.
It might be there.
I didn't go back and listen.
Yeah. I don't know what that means. They're not Pomera / the Horde. Yeah. So it would just be there as kind of a winky reference, being like, we know these guys are reminiscent of that earlier episode. And, you know, Kaltaka in that episode was used to create peace. And here, water is used to destroy.
True.
So which is why if it was all an intentional thing, it would have been interesting. Here it's just like, all of a sudden at the last minute, they're going to throw in this thing to make you think they have some kind of language and humanity.
Right, they barely
They do have a language.
The medicine
they talk. They clearly understand each other. They have their own language.
It's but there's less emphasis on it than there was for the Horde. Yeah,
it's dumb. They're just dumb. I don't even know how problematic they are, because
it's so half baked.
Doesn't make any sense.
There's not a lot to it. Yeah. Then you get Xena climbing back up that rock face, and it looks wet and cold again. And I love it. I love that she's right back to where she started.
Yeah, it's now safe for Rubio to eat food, and he's like gorging himself on some bananas and watermelon, and I really was like worried that he was going to die from, because he looks
eating
starved.
After not eating. Yeah, that's bad.
He looks very starved.
Why is he here? This
Why
is
is
so
he
weird.
here?
This is such a weird, because there's this nice beat. There's one more little nice moment with Xena and Gabs where Xena's like, how are you feeling? And Gabs like, better. And she's like, how you upstairs?
I loved that.
Yeah, it was so good because, it's really fucked up. All these things just happen.
So many fucked up things. So many.
Yeah, well, she says she did what she had to do and that she'll learn to live with her mistakes no matter how terrible they might be. And I was like, hope?
Shit.
Ooh.
But that's the way.
The way. We haven't heard that in a while. The way.
And then Rubio fucking cuts in what way?
And they're like, ha ha ha.
And Xena is literally like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah. Why are you in this episode all of a sudden?
And then it ends with him doing his dumb recurring joke of him being like, my name is Rubio. And you might call me Rubio.
It's so stupid.
And they laugh at him, but then it's sort of like a side-eye way.
Freezes on
they're looking annoyed.
I wouldn't say that's what I read in that moment.
Oh, what did you read?
It's very specific end shot. They laugh at Rubio, and then they like look at each other, and the camera's on Xena. And it goes slow motion, but like in post-production, they like slowed that down.
They clearly didn't have a good final beat.
Yeah. So they chose the beat where Xena's like, so Gabs, cannibals aren't the only ones who want to eat you.
Because she definitely didn't look annoyed. It was not an
It was like
annoyance
sex
joke.
eyes, sex face. It was
sex
They
face.
were
It was
looking at each other.
It was so weird to end on that beat, you guys. I'm not even kidding. I was like, what?
Wow.
That bad Rubio joke just put her right in the mood.
Yeah, I think it did. Oh, man.
Anyway, so that's the way. That's a good line.
Yeah.
The
A writer
way.
saw
Her
other
new
stuff
way.
of that.
Any path, what is it? Any path's okay if it's with you.
Yeah.
It's kind of a callback to that.
Yeah.
But what does that mean?
Her way is the way of Xena.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
We will never know.
We'll never know.
We will never know.
We'll
Is
know
it good?
someday.
Is it always
Sequel.
good? Is
We'll
it,
know more.
Do we look at that and go like, oh, that's so romantic and great, wonderful, and the best? Is it also sad? Is it also
Yeah.
not the best?
Yep,
Like,
both.
is it a good path?
Yes.
Xena doesn't particularly think that she should have been on it.
Yep.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xena has a lot of regrets, clearly.
I think that it's really. I continuously like to bring up that I think that it's really easy to like be like, oh, it's so romantic and wonderful, and it is.
Yeah.
But also you have to question these things because they all think different things about it. So.
Right.
Anyway, I like the 5 scenes in this episode that are good.
They're so good
Yeah.
that
They're
it,
so
it
good you
really
forget
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It
rest of the
doesn't
episode.
matter how bad the rest
It
of the
washes
episode
the
is.
rest of it away.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Caltaka. Yeah, it just washes it away. I mean, it's a great episode. Like, I mean, I feel like the character work it does is
Yeah.
so necessary
Yeah.
and important and good.
Right.
And it makes it look so effortless, you know, tying up these character arcs from like
Yeah.
seasons and seasons ago. Like, it's really powerful. I heard fans saying, oh, this was something they just did to like appease the fans.
I saw that too.
The fans complaining about like, you know, the lack of Hope mentions in the Eve arc. And
Right.
this was them finally just being like, let's throw that in there so the fans will shut up. It doesn't read like that to
No,
me
I
at
don't
all.
think so at all. The chakram thing did. The chakram thing felt like they threw it in there.
They did literally throw it in. They
Like we
wait it on
mentioned
set.
earlier. Yeah. Like. but
Wait, what
this
do you
didn't
mean? What
feel that
chakram?
way.
You know,
Like,
I
that there's-
apologize for hitting you in the head with the shot.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's a whole thing of like I think this was from Whoosh where it was like here are 3 things that fans really want to be addressed that are like gigantic problems, and it's like one of them was the chakram thing and the other one was why didn't she bring up Hope during the Eve.
And I think the third is Christianity.
Oh yeah,
3 problems.
Which yeah, that one I did roll my eyes at as a problem because there's actually an ongoing story arc that is just actually good. But okay, anyway.
Yeah, but I feel like it feels very natural. It doesn't feel out of place or just like a very easy hand wavy solution to these things. It feels really in the same way that One Against an Army just felt like a perfect way to have the characters be honest and vulnerable. This, in its hurt, comforty goodness, feels like a great way of like stripping away everything else but the pure emotions.
Correct.
Yeah, it's super good. And there's cannibals there also. Ignore them.
A+ to the hurt comfort
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like the point of this episode.
and all the feelings.
And all the feelings. Have you seen this more or One Against an Army? Which one have you seen the most?
Of like scenes?
Yeah, of
I don't
scenes.
know,
Which
but
do you
probably
rewatch
One Against an
more?
Army. Well, like One Against an Army, like the full episode is watchable.
Yeah. More than watchable. The full episode is good.
It's like
Yeah.
the best one.
Yeah.
So probably that one. Yeah, that one. That's also on my phone.
Are those the only 2?
No.
Oh, we won't ask about what else is on there.
Okay.
I feel like it might be a spoiler.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yes.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
You can follow us on all the things.
Yeah, we're on the internet at www.xenowarriorpodcast.com. You can find all the links to everything there, including you can actually just listen to it there and download. We are on Apple Podcasts where you can rate us and leave reviews. We always love seeing those, and subscribe as well. We are on Twitter at XenaWarriorPod. We are on Instagram and Facebook and I guess still Tumblr, Xena Warrior Podcast, and Patreon. If you go to patreon.com and search for Xena Warrior Podcast.
The power.
The passion.
The podcast!